Hello. Awesome, awesome. Kindly confirm that you're able to see me and you're able to hear me very well. Okay, so as you do that, let me take this chance to say a very good afternoon to everybody who has just joined the call, and I'm happy and glad to be leading this session. So today we're going to look at how to be productive online, and just to let you know that I have my colleague in the chat box. So we have now Edessa who will be helping with the chat box. So today we're going to look at staying productive online. So staying productive online, and so as usual, so just let us know where you're joining us from. Are you joining us from Harar, Jijiga, Ambo? Are you joining us from Konda, Mekele, Aksum, Alamata, or are you joining us from right here in Addis? Is it Mexico, in Toto, Bole, or anywhere else? So just kindly let us know where you're joining us from. The expectation of what you expect from this particular training, and so much more. So I've just mentioned my name is Evans Rabare, and it is usually my pleasure and honor to be leading this kind of training because I love to just impart knowledge and also just make a difference in somebody's life. So as we start, let us look at the three agendas that we have. So in this today's session, we are going to look at how do you set up, your remote office. We are going to look at, remote working places such as, Blue Space, Orbit, amongst others. How to set up a remote office, and we're also going to look at what do we mean by this thing called remote office. Thereafter, we're going to build a productive work environment. So we're going to explain the importance of building a productive working environment and provide the top tips to do this. And then finally, we're going to look at how do you maintain your health. So remember, health equals productivity. So how to manage and maintain your health. So this training is very very important now, especially now that we have a lot of freelancers, those guys who don't have offices, those guys who don't maybe travel from one place to another just to do training. We have students who are spending a lot of time to study. How do you balance between studying and also between your health, and how do you ensure that your work environment is free from noise, free from distractions, amongst others? So let me ask you, how has COVID-19 impacted your role as a student, as a business person, as a career person? How has COVID-19 impacted your role? So let me know, how has COVID-19 impacted your role? I'd really love to know how has COVID affected you, and kindly let us know how COVID-19 has impacted on your role. So I'll just pause and look at some of the suggestions that you guys are giving. So how has COVID-19 impacted on your role? You guys are giving. So how has COVID-19? So all right. So I can see we have Girma joining. Thank you, Girma, for joining. We have Bucket Fikadu joining from Adigie. We also have Getnet joining. So Getnet is joining from Awasa. How is Awasa? I can see, Ermi joining, and he's saying Ermi. Yeah, so we have Misfits joining. We also have Esete Sehife joining from Addis Ababa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So just invite your friends. Let them know that we've started, and we're talking about, how has COVID impacted on your role as a student. So we remember when COVID came, schools had to be stopped for a long period of time. How has that one really affected you? I remember, when COVID came, some people lost their job. I remember when COVID came, people started working from home. So I'd really love to know how has COVID affected your role? So, Fikadu, kindly let us know how has COVID really affected you. Is it how has COVID affected your social life and as well as your your educational life? So, when you're talking, so as you write those suggestions, let us look at how to set up a remote office and what is this remote office. So when you talk about remote office, we are talking about remote work is working style that allows professionals and students to work from outside their traditional office setup. So when you're talking about traditional office setup, we are talking about an office that has chairs and an office that is very far from very far from your home, an office that is very far from your home. So if you want to work, you have to travel maybe from Mexico to Bole, or from Bole to Aratkilo, because your office is in a is in a fixed place. You need to travel to go and work there. So the concept of remote working is based on that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully. So while having the ability to work from outside, outside of a corporate office, you can also set up your own, own remote office. So we are going to look at where are some of the where some of the areas that you can set up your remote working office. So where can people work remotely? And these are some of the areas that people can work remotely. So working remotely does not mean you only work at home. So there are a lot of places you can work from. So we have home as one of the places that you can work from. So for some employees, working from home is the best option, giving you more flexibility than your own life. So working from home, even studying from home, gives you the freedom and the flexibility to do so much more, as opposed to working from office where you are required to get to office at 8 and leave at 7. So between 8 and 7, there is very little you can do apart from just glued to your screen and executing your task. Also, you can set up a coffee shop. So coffee shops such as Caldi's, we also have other coffee shops where they have internet connection. So working in public spaces with coffee shops, cafes, bars, and restaurants, they often boost your productivity because it is a new environment. You're able to stretch, and of course, if there is strong internet connectivity, you're able to execute your work. Also, we have co-working space. So co-working spaces are a great option for freelancers and remote workers, but be wary that the fee for a dedicated desk can be costly. So co-working space, for instance, it is a space but you're able to share it with two more other people. It is cheap in the sense that you will be sharing the cost, the desk cost, the internet cost. We also have libraries. So when you talk about libraries, so if you don't need to make phone calls, libraries are a great place to get work done. So and most libraries have strong internet connection. It is free of distractions, and that is the perfect place for you to work remotely. So working remotely, working at home cuts off the commuting time, also costs less, and also gives you the flexibility with your home. So when you're working from home and you ordered for some food, or you ordered for some groceries, so the grocery guy is able to come to your home, and you're able to accept that the grocery from the guy. But if you're working from office, it means the guy will have to wait for you to go back to your home for him to deliver. So working from home gives you a lot of flexibility. For instance, if you had a leaking tap, when you're working from home, you can call a plumber to work on the tap as you're working. But when you're working in the office, It means now that the tap will have to wait until Sunday when you'll be off, or it will have to wait for Saturday when you'll be off. So working remotely gives you a lot of flexibilities. So so we are going to look at some of the advantages of working, of working remotely, as well as some of the disadvantages. But if you want to give your best, working remotely is usually the most suitable one. So remember, we've talked about working remotely, but what do you need for you to work remotely? What do you need to work remotely? So let me ask you, for some of you who are working from home, some of you are working from coffee shops, some of you who are working from libraries, what do you need to work remotely? So what do you need to work remotely? So as you think about that, here are some of the facilities, or some of the things that you need for you to work remotely. First, you need a dedicated working space. So dedicated in the sense that within your home, you need to look for a conducive environment within your home. So if you have a home and your home has 2 or 3 rooms, there is that room that usually gives you your peace of mind where you can usually work. So long as the room is very far from, so long as it is very far from your kitchen, is very far from your bedroom, so that dedicated place could also be around within your compound. So somewhere that has, cool breeze of air, somewhere you're comfortable working, comfortable but not too much comfortable. So be respectful of the space, especially if it is a shared space. So just because you're not working at home doesn't mean you can't have an office. So rather than working in your room, or on the couch spaces that are associated with leisure time, dedicate a specific room or a surface in your home to work from. Also, working remotely will need you to have some of the devices. So these devices could be, it could be your phone, it could be your laptop, and so much more. So technology helps you to connect, collaborate, and work remotely, remotely, remotely. So, for example, you'll need to have a laptop if you're working on a document, or or a spreadsheet. You'll also need to have your phone to help you receive phone calls. You'll also have maybe an internet. You'll also need to have a backup, like a UPS, or you also need to have uh, something to help you with charging. So, and also, you'll also need to have an internet connection. So working remotely, you need to have a dedicated space. That is one. You need to have all the devices. So right now, I'm having my phone with me, so that if there is something urgent, I'm able to pick the call and reply to the message. Also, I'm able to work remotely if there is stable internet for me to be able to effectively execute my work. So we may rely on internet connection to send and receive files, work on live files, and communicate with the team members. For that reason, you need to have a stable internet. So we are going to look at how do you check if how do you check the internet strength, and how do you choose the internet service providers, especially if you have options. But for Ethiopian, currently there is no option, so you'll have to stick with Ethio Telecom. But in the coming months, maybe you'll have another option of choosing between Ethio Telecom or Safaricom, depending on the services. So let us look at how to create your own working space. So the living room. So do you have the living room, or you can create a space within the living room or in the bed. Now, what I mean is creating a space. You might need to avoid a few areas of, if you want to create a space within your compound or within your home. So you need to avoid. So the reason why you need to avoid some places is because as you work remotely, you need also to be productive. So if you're given a project to complete within a timeline, you'll need to work within that timeline. So if you're too comfortable, you might not meet the deadline. So therefore, you need to avoid the bed or your couch. You need to avoid your kitchen, and also, you need to set up your table and a chair. So the table and a chair will make you work comfortably and not fall asleep. You'll also need to make sure that the space is comfortable. Comfortable in the sense that you are able to execute your work very well. You don't have pets coming in to disturb you. You don't have people walking in, slamming the door, a lot of noises. So you have to make it comfortable. And also, you need to consider your posture. So right now, the way I'm training, you find that my back is straight. I'm able to, so I'm not able to lean so that it becomes too much. I becomes too much comfortable, and therefore I might sleep as I'm doing the training. So you need to make sure that your posture, your back is straight. Yes. So let us look at some of the physical equipments that you might need when you're working remotely. So working remotely, we've said it's working from home, working from the coffee shop, working from the library, working from your company. So long as that the space that you've chosen is very, very is comfortable for you. So what you need your phone. So why do you need your phone? You need your phone to answer calls and also to communicate with teammates and you can also chat. Why do you need your computer? You need your computer to work on multiple documents. So right now, if you go to the Google Live, Google Docs, so many people are able to work on that computer on that document live. You also need your computer for video calls and conferences. You also so most laptops come with a webcam. So right now, it is through the webcam that you guys are able to see my face clearly. So most laptops comes with webcam, but they tend to angle up the user's nostril, meaning external camera may be the best. So right now I'm using the internal camera for the laptop, but if you're using a desktop, you can put an external camera and you ensure that the lighting there's a lighting above you so that you're able to see it very very well. So maybe you just let me know if there is any other physical equipment that we need apart from the one that I've just mentioned. So I've just mentioned you need a phone, you need your computer, you need your notebook. So maybe the others that I might have not mentioned, but they're very very crucial. So getting a stable power is also very important. Why do we need a stable power? So when you're living in a country like Ethiopia, where there is a blackout, uh, where there is blackout, if you're working from home, chances are you'll get interrupted. So if you have, a backup generator or you have inverters or power bank, that will help you. So to be productive, you need to have to get a stable power to charge your devices, or if possible, you can have your UPS, so the uninterruptible power supply. So if you're using a desktop and the power goes off, you continue with your work and you continue with the work. So that is how unstable power supply is very important. So you also need to make sure make sure that you have a generating set. So you have it in such a way that when the power goes off, the generator is set in such a way that it picks up immediately. Not that when the power goes off, you get up, go spend 1 hour in fixing, in connecting the set so that it works. So you'll be losing a lot of time within that space. Also, you can have, solar powered devices such an inverter. So you can have a solar, and the solar will, will be helping you in case the power goes off. You can also have power banks for your devices. So especially for guys who are owning iPhones. So iPhones have an issue with the batteries. So you find that you charge your phone after a few hours, the battery is drained. So most people usually carry power bank. So power bank will enable you to be active and online. So if the battery lifespan reduces, you're able to charge. So that is also something that you could consider, so that we don't have a situation whereby your teammates are calling you and they're not able to reach you because of your phone is off, you don't have power and such thing. So let us look at how do you ensure that you solve the issue of insufficient internet connection. First, you we have to acknowledge that when you're working remotely, internet connection becomes a necessity. For you to be stable and to be productive, internet becomes necessity. And for you to have stable internet connection, you need to choose the right internet service provider. So ISP means internet service provider. Currently in Ethiopia, we only have one ISP, which is Ethio Telecom. That makes working from home a little bit tricky, but in countries where we have more than one internet service providers, you can choose. In most cases, you can have the two. So you try this, you also try this. Also, you can consider a substitute or an alternative internet service provider. So we are going to have a situation whereby you'll be comparing between Ethio Telecom and Safaricom in the coming futures, because I heard in the news that Safaricom had been given a license, so therefore you'll be having a situation where you'll be comparing that, okay, between Ethio Telecom and Safaricom, which one is providing me with the best internet package, or the strongest internet package. You also need to need to find the right router. So router, they're just switch. So router are the ones that enables enables one to enables internet. So like right now, if you have a router are connected with switch. So through the router, you'll have a switch, and the router is the one that will be rerouting the internet into different devices. Also, you need to ensure that if you are having a Wi-Fi, the router is plugged in, so that you don't have a case where when the power goes off, we don't have the internet. So you need to ensure that you need to know you need to ensure that the router is constantly plugged in, so that it keeps serving you. And also you need to test and compare the speeds, the internet speed. So if you have an option, you can test and compare internet speed. So you can work and change the location in. So for the router, for instance, if you have a router and the router it was inside a shelf, for instance, if it is inside a shelf, for instance, it means the internet strength will be very weak. So if you find that the internet is very weak, you take it out from the shelf and then you put it on top of on top of something that is high end, where you'd be able to get a strong internet signal. Right. So let us look at some of the challenges of working remotely. So what are the challenges of working remotely? So as you think of those challenges, kindly also just write down some of the challenges that you guys have been able to find remotely. So you're working remotely and the internet goes off, power goes off. You're working remotely and you're a family guy. Your child just comes and starts shouting. You're working remotely and the internet is not stable. So just let me know some of the challenges of working remotely. So that is also a challenge. So right now I'm trying to do a training, but I'm in the office, and somebody, one of the staff, some of the one of the staff or some of the staff workers will start shouting around, start making calls, and for some weird reason, I'm not able to control that. So those are the challenges of working remotely. but the benefit supersedes, the benefit supersedes or overtakes the challenges. So here are some few challenges, and these challenges can be overcome. Something like loneliness or lack of interaction. So if you're working from home and you feel loneliness, all you need to do is just set up a call with your colleague on the other side and just have a quick video call, and that will sort out the loneliness. So loneliness is one of the major drawbacks of a remote working, especially for extroverts. So if you are used to the office chats, you might find working from home lonely. So however, if you think working alone affects your productivity, you can go to a restaurant or an eatery, and then you can have the work done. We also have self-discipline. So self-discipline here is you've been given a work to complete within 2 hours, but because you lack discipline, you will keep on procrastinating, postponing it, and then you end up the work ends up being done in 6 hours. So you need dedication, discipline, and self-control to avoid losing momentum while working from home. You also, don't convince yourself that a single YouTube video during your working hours won't do any harm. So before you know it, you'll have, so like before you know it, you shall have spent a lot of hours. So like when you're working online and you go to YouTube, you start watching some videos on YouTube. You'll just say, okay, let me just listen to Betty G, just one video of Betty G. Before you know it, you shall have switched to Ask A. You watch another Ask A video. Before you know it, you shall have gone to watch, maybe, another video. So you intended to only watch, a video or a music video for 2 minutes, but you find yourself watching it for 4 hours. So that is lack of discipline. Also, there is no employee benefit. So working from home, we don't have overtime. So you won't have employees benefit like health insurance, retirement benefits, overtime, and so much more. We also have difficulty to switch off. So when you're working in your office, you're most likely conscious of closing time, but when you're working from home, you can even work up to midnight because in the office setup, probably somebody will tell you that okay, we need to leave at 5 because I'm closing the office. But when you're working from home, you can extend. So when you're working remotely, the lines between work and home life are blurred. Since you're working from your dining room, you might need to find it easy to disengage yourself from work. And finally, there is something called FOMO, missing out. So working remotely could make you feel left out occasionally when you miss out on an important announcement, meetings, and events. You're most likely to be the last person to hear to hear your office about upcoming events and important um, announcements. So, however, you can use a software called Slack. So, with Slack, it will keep updating you with activities, meetings, so that you don't just miss meetings or updates. So now let us look at the benefits. So here are some of the benefits. So we are talking about, flexibility, talking about you'll be saving a lot because you'll not be spending 10 beer or 50 beer, going to the office and coming to the office. You'll have a lot of time with your family. So, there is also less distractions, and then there'll be high morale. So, things like that. So, now let us look at, here are some more benefits. So we have greater productivity. You are also able to access wider pool of talent. So accessing wider pool of talent is that you can employ somebody in Canada or you can employ somebody in China because they'll be working from their home. They'll not be forced to travel all the way to add this to work for you. So you'll be accessing wider pool of talent. So we also have improved employee retention. So people who usually work from home work for a long time. So you'll have people working for over 10 years, for over 15 years. But people reporting to work, somebody work for slightly over a year, they're tired or they change to another profession. So do you have questions for me? Do you have questions for me? Ah, awesome. I can see so many people have joined. I thought you were only a few people, but I've seen a number of joined, so which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. So, all right, all right. So, as usual, I can see we have my good friend. Awesome. We have so many people joining. This is a good sign. Pius is also joining from Kampala. You can also see Soltech joining from Asefa. I can see Berano saying, I'm sorry for being late. No problem. Kasim is also saying, joining from Addis Ababa Institute of Technology. Thank you so much. Hannah is also joining. I can say Tesfai is also joining. Aha. So we have a full house. We have a full house. I can see Kiros is also joining. I can see Eshetu joining from Bishoftu. Meron is also joining from Addis. I can see Abel also joining. Samrawit is also joining. I can see. All right. So Kiros is suggesting tablet may be used. All right. So that is also one of the equipment that you can have with you. I can also say solar power is expensive here in Ethiopia. So we have how much is solar power? The one that is able to power, is able to provide you with electricity. I can see Tefsa saying joining from Addis Ababa University. Habtamu is joining from Ben Changul. How is Ben Changul? Sosa Ben Changul. Awesome. I can see we have a full house. Nice classes. Thank you so much, Bezabe. We also have Kiro saying, mostly there is no internet coverage in remote areas. So I promise you that is about to change. With the new player, in the house, that is about to change. So in Kenya, we have around 6 service providers. So if there is one that is disturbing you, you switch to another and you say goodbye to the other one. So I can also say Radiate Marcos joining from Addis Ababa. We also have, Fekadu saying joining from Wairu. As we also have Abtamu joining from St. Mary's University. So Abel is saying home Wi-Fi connections are relatively more stable, but the noise from the family members makes it difficult. So actually, that is true. So actually, when I first came to Ethiopia 3 years ago, I was shocked that in a family you have a family people are staying 20 or 15, and you'll also have somebody over 18 still staying with the parents. So back in Kenya, when you're 18, you're chased out of the family. You're told now you need to provide for yourself. You go outside there. You throw yourself. You look for a job, and then you start having your own home. Here is a little bit different. So it could be because of the culture. So it was weird for me in the beginning, but I'm used to it now. You could see people here, people staying, people staying with their family, which is a good thing. Awesome. So I'm glad that we have a full house. So moving on to our second agenda, we are talking about we want to look at building a productive work environment. So building a productive and work environment. So we want to look at uh, you know things to do with how to designate an area, finding the right chair for you, and also getting a feeling system to organize your life. So, for instance, if you look at the guy there, he's having a nice desk, he's having the phone by the desk, so he's having also his desktop, and he's also the chair he's using is making his posture to be so straight. That is making him to be very very productive. Also, if you look at the guy there, so he has somewhere he's putting his table, no, not table, but the pens, skibuto, and also the papers that he's using. So you need a good filling system. But right now, you don't even need a good filling system. You need a drive. So the drive, you can put all your you can put all your you can put all your files onto the drive, and then you'll be able to access them bit by bit. So statistics is telling us that distractions and distractions in workplaces is leading to people making mistakes, especially if you're doing accounting errors and there's a lot of distractions. You're bound to make errors, and these errors could be costly. So you need to communicate the value of of remote work. Therefore, for some professionals need you to be very focused. If there is distractions, you might end up making costly errors in terms of you might write some amount that are that will cost the company. So let us look at how you can minimize distractions. So how can you minimize distractions and ensure that you don't have people making errors? So first, if you're working remotely, you'll have to let others know of your working hours. So for instance, if this is a house, and within the house, you'll have to let them know that between 6 and 7 or 6 to 5, I will be working in this room. I will be working in this room. So you'll have to let them know that you'll be working in that room. Also, for you to minimize distraction, you need to have a plan so that you do one thing at a time, so that you don't touch this, you leave it, move to another. So you need to have a plan of you want to do one thing at a time. You finish it, then you move to the next until you finish the entire work plan. Also, you need to avoid a TV and household distraction. So we are talking about a TV and household distractions. We are talking about when you're working and you're watching a TV as well, chances are you'll get distracted and deviate from what you're doing. If you have a pet, you need to ensure. But we Africans, I don't think we are very heavy on pets. But for white people or for guys, the Europeans, they have a lot of pets. They have dogs, they have cats. So when you're working remotely, you need to make sure that you close them somewhere else so that they don't just, uh, you know, interfere with you working, because you know how dogs are playful. When you're working remotely, also you need to ensure that you take regular breaks. So within your house, you can take a break of 10 minutes. You just walk around, you stretch, so that and that will help you in minimizing distractions. So let us look at how can you improve productivity within the team. So here we're talking about if you're working on a project. So a project usually has more than one person working on that project. So a project could have 10 or 5. But imagine a case where you're working on a project and all of you are working remotely. So somebody is in Mexico, somebody is in Toto, somebody is in Safari, somebody is in Bishoftu, or somebody is in Awasa, and you're working on a project. How do you ensure that there's productivity within the teams? Here is how to ensure that. So project management. So remote team members need to be able to plan and collaborate on commitment. So you also know that projects have deliverables. They also have tasks. So you also need to track the flow of the workflow from the start to finish. Also, you need to establish visions and deliverables. You need to establish logistics for the team to communicate. So you can decide to communicate through Skype, Meet, or Zoom. You also need to improve visibility and transparency about amongst the work. And how to do this is to have regular meetings to check the progress, and you also can track the quality and the status of the project. So working from home does not mean you compromise on the quality of the project. So you can also work from home or work remotely, but at the same time the quality of the work can also be similar. And also you need to identify and address the bottlenecks. So when you talk about the bottlenecks, is another meaning of identifying the problems or things that are stopping you from achieving your goals. So with periodic meetings, you'll be able to identify bottlenecks. For instance, if in your team, people are working remotely and somebody is not responsive, you'll be able to identify and say, okay, Look, even though you're working remotely, let us be responsive in the sense that you call, you check on each other, you update on where somebody has reached. So now, let us look at the statistics that you have here. So it is showing that 70% of workplace mistakes are due to poor communication. So project is all about teamwork. So teamwork means you need to communicate, over communicate regularly so that this person is able to know what the other person is doing, what the other person is doing, where they've reached. If you don't communicate, you'll realize that the deliverables that you've set are not make. So communication plays a fundamental role in our daily lives. So we have for good communication. So good communication comes naturally, but for others, it can be it can be hard to articulate their thoughts and feelings. So whether you are an effective communicator or not, it is essential to understand the importance of communication. So you need to ensure that just communicate. Don't assume something. So let us look at some of the tools that you can use, or the general communication, or some of the things that makes communication very integral part of our business. So email is widely used, and email makes communication to be formal. So email is used for more formal communication, but we also have Telegram or WhatsApp or Skype that you can use for quick fire conversations, such as just a short clarification, something like that. So we also have instant messaging platforms for fast communication, like I've just mentioned Telegram, I've mentioned WhatsApp, I've mentioned Skype. You can also collaborate. We also have collaborative tools. That we're going to talk about, such as Slack, such as Meet, and so much more. So for communication to be smooth, we need to set rules to communicate effectively. So in order to communicate or for communication to be effective, you need to set rules. And these rules could be: you need to communicate clearly, articulate it clearly and to the point. You need to think about the type of message and the context, and also respond promptly. So for most organizations, they have an email policy. So a policy that says that if you've gotten an email, you need to respond, and you need to respond within 24 hours. And you also need to set and you need to set and roll the model for the guideline. So the rule of communication is you need to communicate clearly, you need to over communicate, and you also need to respond promptly. Once you've done that, you guys should be okay. So let us look at some of the video and messaging, video and and messaging calls tools. So we have, Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and Zoom. So how many of you in the chat box have used Microsoft Teams? So video meetings and calls enable teams to communicate and collaborate in real time. So you're able to connect. So you're able to connect teams working remotely. It also improves levels of communication, and also it also boosts collaboration. So when I talk about Meet, so Meet is a Google product, and it's pretty much similar to Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, because through Meet you're able to engage so many people. So there are two versions. We have the free versions that you can communicate with somebody for 1 hour, and it can accommodate over 100 people. But of course, we also have the premium one, so where you'll be able to onboard even more than 500 people on a call, and you can stay in a call for more than 1 hour. So you need to keep the team connected with an enterprise grade video. Also within, so you can also with the Meet you can so there's Meet video meetings that are encrypted in transit, and so the information that the information or the meetings that you usually have within the Meet are encrypted. And I'm pretty sure that guys on the call are, for one, at one point you've been able to use Meet. You've been able to have meetings on Meet, classes on Meet, You know, and how do you set up a meet? You just go to your Gmail, and within your Gmail, there is the part for calendar. In the calendar, it will be asking you, how do you want the meeting to be? And then you say, okay, meet. And then from there, the calendar will be able to generate a meet link for you, and you'll be able to invite people onto the meet. Let us look at Zoom. So Zoom is an application that can be downloaded, and of course we have the web version of Zoom. You can request a demo. You can also use Zoom to join a meeting. Zoom can accommodate up to 100 people. It's free, but if you have more than one, then you'll have to pay for it. So Zoom is accessible for those Android and iOS. Let's look at Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams enables business to collaborate and communicate with team members across the world. So with Microsoft Teams, you can utilize the chat and video call functions to boost your communication. You can also use, laughing emojis. You can also use GIFs to make it more interactive. You can also share document and collaborate at ease. Yes, so and of course, Microsoft Teams is a product of Microsoft 365, package. So just like Meet is a Google product, Microsoft Teams is a Microsoft product. So let us look at Skype. So Skype. So with Skype, you'll be able to access a variety of innovative features. So when you're talking about, immersive or full screen video, you can also send, invites. You can also blur the background. So for instance, in this training, if I were to use a Microsoft, I can blur my background so that you don't need to know if I have a wall here, or if I have anything there. So Skype can enable you do that. So you can change your background color. You can also send an invite to people. You can also form groups on Skype. You can also, and so much more. So let us look at how to run an effective meeting. So if you want to run an effective meeting, you need to set agenda first. That is why at the initial stage we said, okay, for this training we have three agendas. We've set agenda. So for everybody in the training knows that, okay, we have three agendas, and so far we've covered two agendas. Also, you need to consider the tone of your voice. So if working remotely, people can't see your body language or easily your voice, then you need to make sure that there is good intonation. So normally when you're working remotely, or when you're having meetings and your video is not on, chances are people might misinterpret some of the things that you're saying. So you need to ensure that you have your video on. So right now, my video is on. People are able to see me. People are able to see my facial expression. People are able to hear my voice. So also you need to encourage people to use camera. So it is important to connect with each other, and also there is also the aspect of non-verbal communication. So right now, people are able to see me, and people are able to hear what I'm saying, as well as people are able to listen to my non-verbal communication. And the fourth one, you need to be timely for meetings. So when you are having a meeting on Zoom, Skype, or any other platform, you need to don't leave the meeting when people are on the call. You also need to be punctual when you're having those meetings. So now let us look at video conferencing etiquette. So these are etiquettes that you need to have. And so remember, these things are new. Before Corona, these tools were never popular. But because of Corona, we are forced to use this. Therefore, we need to learn some etiquette. So first, you need to prepare yourself for a meeting. So when you're going to have a meeting, you need to prepare yourself and have an agenda. Also, you need to dress appropriately. you also need to address appropriately. So don't be in your pajamas and you're in a meeting. So you might have a session where people are saying, now move the camera so that you can see everything within the house. Also, you need to consider your lighting. So if you are chocolate like me or dark skin like me, you need to ensure that there is a lighting on top of you so that people are able to see you well. Also, you need to consider your background. So for me, my background is okay, so I don't need to worry about my background. Also, you need to consider your audio, so people are able to hear you very, very well. Right. So let us look at some top tips for collaborating effectively. First, you need to equip your team with the right tools. Also, you need to make project management easier. Finally, you need to make project management. You need to make document sharing easy and accessible. So this has been very, very one of the features that that I really like with Microsoft, with the Google tools. I mean, so right now, if there is an urgent work that needs to be done, all I need to do is just upload that document on Google Docs or Google Sheets, and then I will just invite 4 or 5 people to work on that document. Within a short period of time, we shall have completed that work. Also, you need to encourage collaborations within department, and finally, you need to prioritize company culture. So apart from that, always over communicate. So communicate with your team regularly and keep them in the loop. If there is something new, you need to be disciplined. So as much as you're working remotely, it's not that you're on leave. So for some people, working remotely could translate to them. It will it might look as if they're on leave. No, when you're working from home or remotely, you're working remotely, but you're not on leave. So you need to still meet your deliverables. So remote working is not a vacation or a paid leave. Also, you need to have your tools ready for work. So make sure you have the tools you need to work remotely. And we've just talked about those tools, things to do with internet, your phones, your dedicated workspace. Somebody also mentioned, stable internet. Somebody mentioned tabs. So those are equipment that you need to have. So let me pause and see if we have a question, because we're just heading into our final agenda. So as you've just noticed, I'm moving a little bit fast so that at least we discover the agenda. We discover the agenda. So, do we have any question for me? Okay, I can see there is a lot of engagement. A lot of engagement. People saying I prefer Zoom. Thank you so much. Somebody saying I prefer Meet. Fiseha saying I prefer Meet. Esete saying I prefer Zoom. Abtamu say I prefer Meet. So so these guys have their reasons why they prefer Zoom over Meet or why they prefer Meet over Zoom. So I like that. I can also see I can also see you know, somebody asked about what kind of rules. So now maybe if you can refresh that question for me so that I can come back and tackle it very fast. All right. So moving on into our final agenda, which is, things to do with your health, managing and maintaining your well-being. And why is it important to manage your well-being, your health? So, when you're sick, you can't work very well. You can't be productive. When the environment is noisy or when the environment is tough, you can't work very well. So, it is important for us to consider, our well-being. And the reason why it is important is because it is impacts or it affects our overall health. So you are healthier and fitter when you're managing your well-being. Also, it leads to greater productivity. So you're more motivated, you're more focused, you work better and more quickly. Also, it increases your resilience. So you can overcome obstacles head on. So you don't scramble in the face of challenges and setbacks. Also, you boost your morale and levels of happiness. So you feel more engaged, supported, and happy. So this has a huge impact on your working life. Also, so what can you do to manage your well-being? So some of the things that you can do to manage your well-being when you're working remotely. So I'd love to hear some of your suggestions. So Eshetu, just write a comment. Kiros, just drop a comment. I can see you also have Aptamu, just drop a comment. I can see we also have Tesfa, just drop a comment. Kasim, just drop a comment. Things that you can do to improve our well-being. I can also see, Peace, just drop a comment. Uh, you know, um, Landina, just drop a comment. Johannes, just drop a comment. Kiros, just drop a comment. So the things that we can do to improve, to manage our well-being. So as you think about what you can do to manage our well-being, I have some suggestions for you. So you need to set up a reminder to take regular breaks. So regular breaks in the sense that you just take 5 or 10 minutes, and in that you can go and grab some water. You can stretch a bit. Also, you need to be clear with the team when you are leaving. So when you need to tell them when you're not be you know when you're leaving for the break, so that they don't call you back when you're taking some breaks. Also, you need to turn off notifications while on a break. So, like right now, I've turned all the notifications right from my Google, my Skype notifications to to even my WhatsApp notification. You also need to schedule in an activity like taking a walk, riding a bike, or going to a gym at the end of the day. So, to help you embrace with the shift, you need to consider the following. You need to trust your overall performance. You need to rethink the concept of work. So the concept of work is not that work is being done. That work must be done in the office for it to be executed efficiently. No, you also need to understand your commitment and also be patient. So these are some of the activities that you can do to manage our fitness and our overall well-being. So we need to exercise regularly, just a slight exercise. It doesn't have to be a heavy one or a heavy lifting or something. Just a slight exercise. View your mental health as seriously as your physical health. So remember, your mental health is also very important. For instance, if you are mad, if you are insane, we might not in if you are if there is something disturbing you, or something that is making you not to reason well, then it means that there's a problem with your health, your mental health. So ensure that your mental health is as stable as your physical health. You need to check in with your manager or your team regularly, and also you need to separate your professional and personal life, and you also need to organize in-person and social meetups. All right, so let me pause and see if we have a question. So we're almost done with our question, with our training. So I can see we have. I can see. I can see Kiros asking, can we use Telegram for remote meetings? I will gladly decline. So Telegram, no, it doesn't have the features to allow you to. It doesn't allow. It doesn't have the features to allow you work. For instance, if you want to work on a Word document, or if you want to work on, uh, you know, you want to work on, collaborative tools, it doesn't really give you that flexibility. So for Telegram, it is good for marketing in the sense that you're able to form groups, you're able to invite people, and people are able to see your product. So unless some features will be incorporated in the future, but now as it is, you're only able to make calls, you're only able to chat, and also you're only able to video call. That's it. Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much for that question. So So just to let you know that I will be getting all your names from Eleni, so that we'll be sending you, the certificate, and also, through your Telegram group. So they're going to communicate, you know, the subsequent trainings and the date, so that we can have this group a very, very active group. And from this group now, we will be able to find some success stories. So I will come back and ask that, since we started training Kiros, has the training been impactful? I will come back to Surafel and say, has the training been helpful to you? I will come back to, Haptamu, to Sahife. I will come back to Peace, and just submit to Google that, okay, we've been doing this training in Addis, and these are some of the success stories that we have. So it will be really pleasing to you to find your name being highlighted as one of the success stories. So mine is just to say that, at this point, what would be your next step? Talk about this session in our social media channels. Say something about it that you've learned about, remote work, the benefit of remote work, and some of the tools that you can use to make your remote work experience memorable. Also, what are your next steps after this particular training? Let me know what are some of your next steps. So as you write those next steps, I would just love to say, Segenalu to call. It's usually pleasing, and you know it's usually pleasing to know that, I'm being supported by the guys such as Kiros, or Aptamu, I know, and anybody, and all the guys who have been joining the training. So at this point, mine is to say thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure being with you guys, and see you in our subsequent training, and ciao to you all.